Okay, so in today's video about JasmyCoin, I want to do a complete deep dive into this move on the upside and see what is going on, and is this actually an optimistic sign suggesting the bottom overall is actually in, or maybe something else is happening in here and soon we can expect a move down. Which scenario is going to happen? In today's video, I'm going to talk about that. So without that said, hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you're having a great time with your family and loved ones. And if you remember, in the previous JasmyCoin update, I think we were right in here, and the idea was that, okay, maybe we are going to have another move on the upside, but as long as we are staying under this level, and also especially this one, we cannot really be bullish in Jasmy with a lot of confidence. Do not get me wrong, the overall scenario is absolutely bullish, but back in here, we talked about what was happening just in the short term. So what happened? We did get a move up, but this was much stronger than I expected. And in this phase, not only we went back above this level, we also, at least so far, managed to get back above this one as well. Now, I want to be very clear. This is from daily and weekly time frame at the same time. And if you want to say that this level is officially reclaimed, you need to see a weekly candle close above this area and then pull back, and followed by that a continuation of the move up in order to take this side. So for example, if from here we get like a very quick move on the downside, if you go on weekly time frame, you're not even going to see a candle closing here, and this is going to be just a simple fake out. But nonetheless, the fact that we are around this area in JasmyCoin, in my opinion, can be interpreted as an optimistic sign. Now, first things first, let's just measure this move up and see how big this one was. About a 112% move on the upside, which is huge. The question is, why did we get this move? I have a theory on it. You see, naturally, when the price is going down, that means the number of sellers are more than the number of buyers. Now, this is the key. At some point, the price is going to be so cheap to a degree that is going to make buyers step in. And when they manage to have the upper hand, you're going to see a move on the upside, let's say like a 10 to 20% move. Now, this is the key. If the previous downtrend was actually happening for quite a long time, odds are that during this phase down, a lot of people were jumping on the trend, and many of them were opening some short positions. And sure, in here, buyers caused a 10% move on the upside, but during this process, they actually caused those short positions to get liquidated. And when your shorts gets automatically closed, that means you are automatically buying that token, and that will cause some more big moves on the upside. In other words, the bulls in this phase had the power for about like a 10% move, but that acted like some sort of a cascading effect, and instead of a 10%, we saw instead a 50 to 100% move on the upside. And I think we are having the similar situation in here in Jasmy. And I'm going to say it, there is a very good chance that starting from this point to about here, this was actually caused mainly by bulls. Now, the rest of this move, I can tell you to a good degree by shorts getting liquidated, aka short squeeze. Question, am I sure that this was caused mainly by short squeeze? The answer is no. We cannot say anything for sure. There is no certainty in any market, but I think I have a good way of finding out what this move up was mainly caused, and I'm going to talk to you about it in today's update. But before that, let's go around here. You see, if you want to say the final low is already in, maybe right around this area, let's say this is like a very important support. Okay, you need to be able to find off of the lowest low a 5-wave impulsive structure up, and this move has to be quite a fast and a strong move on the upside. Okay, this is very important. And can I find some sort of an impulse in here? Not a complete one. I guess we can say, well, okay, this is definitely 5-wave up to about this point, followed by that correction structure down to around here. and maybe we are having something like this. 1, 2, and yes, I think we can say this is the end of our wave 3. And well, if this scenario is happening, we want to see a correction for 4 in here, and followed by that another move on the upside into wave 5. Now, here's a question. What if we do actually get something like this? Meaning maybe a move down in the short term and then another move on the upside. Does this mean right in here we should be 100% optimistic in Jasmy and call this point our final low and say around these prices is a huge buying opportunity? The answer is absolutely not. Why is that? If you are a regular viewer of the channel, you know that I was actually optimistic in Jasmy way back down here, and because we had some slow and choppy moves on the downside, and this was, I think, kind of a daily time frame support, I was saying, look, I'm opening some long positions in Jasmy in hope that we get a very strong bounce back. And I was saying back in the day, I'm hoping that this is going to be our final low. What happened? We did get a very strong move up. Also, this was in form of an impulsive structure. But if you remember, when we got this move right around the highs, I made a new update and I said, look, so far everything is going according to the plan, but that is not enough. We need to wait a little bit more, because after an impulsive structure up, we're gonna have a move on the downside, and I need to see the shape of that move being corrective. And what happened? We did get a move down, but this move down was very, very strong, and it did kind of invalidate the bullish scenario that I had in my mind. And that might be, and again, this is a very important point, that might be what is happening in JasmyCoin at the moment in this area. Now, how can we say this is a short squeeze, or maybe the trend has actually changed and the final low is already in? You see, I said it earlier, after a 5-wave impulsive structure up, one way or the other, we are going to have some sort of a move down. And here is how you can say whether this move up is a short squeeze or not. If we get a slow and choppy move on the downside, that means in this phase, bears do not actually have a lot of power, and odds are that this move up was mainly caused by bulls, and as a result of it, we can say after this move is over, we can continue our move on the upside. And in terms of Elliott waves, you know what I'm about to say, maybe on a higher degree, we're going to have a 1-2 setup, indicating the next move is actually going to be a big one up into wave 3 and 4 and 5. So this is the key. You must see in JasmyCoin, after this short-term move up is over, a slow and choppy move down. What you do not want to see is a very strong rejection from these levels in form of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because that is going to confirm that this move up was indeed mainly caused by short squeeze. So let's have a quick conclusion and wrap up today's video. In JasmyCoin, the fact that we are having some sort of an impulse on the upside, and at least in the short term, we are above this level, and especially this one as well, can be considered as an optimistic sign. But I'm telling you right now, this is not enough. Soon, I believe we're gonna have a move down, and what really matters is the shape of that move. If we get a slow and choppy move, and between the pullbacks we manage to have constantly overlapping of the waves, that could be a great sign, indicating, you know what, probably the low is actually in, and at least in these areas we can count on another decent move up in Jasmy. On the other hand, if we get a strong move, okay, that's going to be a bit of a different story, and at that point we should probably consider this move up being some sort of a trap. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in JasmyCoin's chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.